G'day. Well, it's 2 weeks since the catastrophe happened to me. Yes, I did blow up my engine. Yes, I am somewhat stranded here in Kununurra, but this video isn't about my tragedy. I will go through how it happened, but I'll also give you some ideas how you can plan just in case this happens to you, or even plan how to prevent it. So without any further ado, let's go. Well, here I am with another mini crisis. I believe I've got water in the diesel, which is the fuel, and the lights come on in the car to tell me that there's probably water there. And as I'm pulling over the side of the road, I've lost power, so that's probably also telling me. I don't want to move it any further, although I probably couldn't anyway. And contact the breakdown service, and they've been on the phone now for half an hour, still trying to get through to WA. Looks like it'll be another tow truck and off to one of the towns, and they'll have a look and they'll just do what they've got to do. Anywho, it wasn't really something I could predict or prevent. Water, bad water or bad fuel is just one of those things you've got to deal with, I guess. Well, I'd like to look excited and thrilled, but 10 days ago, this is when my big trip went down to the toilet, went down the hole. Everything went wrong. So basically what happened was I fueled up in Kununurra, drove 150 kilometres, and suddenly the car started losing power. And as it lost power, the light came on the dash indicating there was water or a contaminant in the fuel system. And it's then when I knew things weren't particularly good. So I didn't drive it any further. I phoned the breakdown service. They turned up, the usual tow truck, put the caravan, set up the caravan behind it, put the car on the back of the tray, and 150 kilometres back into Kununurra. Then everything was checked out. So here's what went wrong. So the integral part of driving, especially out in the outback, is when you fuel up, sometimes you will get a little bit of water or a bit of contaminant, just a small amount, doesn't matter how much, but sometimes a small amount can sort of get through the system. And I've got the two fuel filters on my car. I've got a pre-filter. As well as that, I've also installed a second fuel filter, and the second fuel filter is, I think it's the main one. So the fuel comes through here, picks up any contaminants, then goes from here, picks up here. And any contaminants found there, then the light will come on to on the dashboard and say you've got contaminated fuel, and then you pull over. And neither of those picked up the contamination coming through, and unfortunately, because it didn't, by the time the light came on the dashboard to say you've got contamination, at that stage then the power was, I was losing power in the car, pulled over, but it also happened so quickly, the damage was done. Then the injectors failed, the piston blew up and the engine died, and that's it. Back on the flat pan tow truck, and the caravan was towed behind the tow truck, and that was it. Good morning. Top of the morning to you. So I'm just going to give you an update. Basically where I'm at, I'm almost up to the week and a half since the crisis drama happened, and at the moment it's all a waiting game. So I'm waiting for the insurance company to tell me whether they've got great news and they're going to cover it all. I'm waiting on the breakdown service to see how else they can help me. They've already been excellent. And I'm just waiting on, I'm just waiting. So the latest is, if I get a new engine, the new engine is currently being shipped from Japan and is in transit. They expect it to arrive in Darwin in the middle of November, then they can work on the car. So it's around about Christmas before I'll be able to start it up and shoot on off out of here. So that's a bit of a handbrake on the on my trip around Australia. However, you know, life goes on and we'll just see every day. It's been a bit stressful because not knowing, you know, what's going to happen, whether I'm reconditioning, getting a second hand, getting a brand new car, a brand new motor, whether I'm shipping it off to Darwin or I'm shipping it down to Perth. So I don't want to go on about it, but yeah, there's a little bit of tension in the camp. Myself, we've been discussing it at length, and we still can't seem to have any final resolution. So I wanted to give you a bit of a heads up on, hopefully this will help you in your trip in these remote areas. Now, if you jump on my website, which is paulwheeldrive.com, then I'm going to give you some further details on this particular product. I don't want to put it on here, look as though I'm promoting it, but apparently there's this additive that you can add to your fuel, and what happens is it goes in, it does its magic. So if it finds any water or any contaminants, it disperses them or does some magic thing that stops that then going into your injectors and so on and so forth, allegedly. So if you want to know a bit more about that, jump on my website. And the other thing is, are you covered by insurance, and have you covered as many permutations as possible? So here's the breakdown. Okay, my discussion point here now is, have you got this particular fuel contamination covered? First of all, you will need a decent breakdown service, and I'll list at the end of this video some of the alternatives you can do. You can have just your basic, which I think is around about $100 a year, and that'll just cover your car and cover a small handful of breakdowns. Then you go the intermediate, which I thought when I first left Sydney, I thought that that would cover both me and the van. Yes, it will, but not to any kind of major level. Whereas if you take out the ultimate, and the ultimate exists, I know for sure, in the RAC, it exists in NRMA, and one of the other states. So the ultimate care is without a doubt the one that you want. So with the ultimate care, I don't know all the details, and they'll change a little bit from state to state, but basically what they're doing is they're saying, look, we'll cover your breakdowns, we'll cover you, I'm pretty sure 100 kilometres towing, we'll cover that. If you have the car and the caravan out of action, then they will put you up at accommodation, just basic accommodation, sort of for a certain period of time. As I said, they'll cover your towing, and in this case they've also covered, because I've got no car, I can't do anything, they've given me a hire car for a couple of weeks. So these are all considerations. Definitely worth getting the best you can get in a breakdown service throughout Australia. So that's the breakdown service. With contaminated fuel, there's two types. There's the type when you go into the fuel station. This can be done at any major service station throughout Australia, so just be aware of this. And it sounds too bizarre to actually think would possibly happen, but I do know someone directly who did this. What they've done is they've put petrol, unleaded petrol, into their diesel fuel tank. So there's that type of contamination. The other type of contamination, which is the one I suffered from, is when you go to a fuel station and you know, in all honesty, with, you know, no thought of anything else, you just go to the Bowser, take it off, diesel, yeah, I've got a diesel, in you go, you plug, and you're doing it for, you know, 5-10 minutes while it fills up the tank. And it could be filling up from very low or half full, it wouldn't make any difference. You don't know at any point in time whether that fuel is contaminated. Why would you? But there are a couple of telltale signs. So if you're lucky and you're in the town, this is 1 in 100, and you happen to speak to anyone about the various fuel stations there, in this town, for instance, 3 of the 5 fuel stations have had brand new fuel tanks dug out and put in brand new ones in the last 3 to 5 years. There's a couple that haven't been done for probably 20 years. So the older the tank sits down in the ground and filled up, and then you have floods and you have, you know, the big rains and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of moisture going around. So at some point in time, those really old tanks struggle, or they'll have a certain amount of water in or contamination in, and you know, you're already in a bit of trouble. When I've unknowingly filled my car up full of diesel, everything seemed fine, and I drove off into the sunset, so I would never have known that. If you unluckily enough get contamination in your fuel, there is definitely, that I know of for sure, 2 or 3 of them that will in fact cover that. Now, I don't want to get involved in who will, who won't, but fingers crossed, the company that I'm with will come to the party, because it wasn't a deliberate act on my behalf, and get me out of this nightmare. Well, that's the end of this video, but not the end of the story. I'll keep you in the loop. So at the moment, it's a waiting game, and also decision time. Will I put in a new motor, go to a wreckers and put in a motor, get a motor from them, recondition my own engine, buy a brand new engine? Will I have any insurance claim that they'll be able to help out? So many things to know and work out. So I'll just sit and wait and touch the sweat. If you found the video helpful, useful and or entertaining, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, what can I say? And if you think this video is worth sharing, that would definitely be great. Until next time, this is Paul Will Drive, signing off.